Good morning. Am I audible? Yes. All right, wonderful. So thank you so much, Juliet, for the wonderful introduction. Just because Sally went ahead and she mentioned that our generations, we go without coming with notebooks, I just carried my phones. And I hope it will go as I intended it to go to in this session. I would like to just set some ground rules, and I just brought my phones just to check on time. But I want to set some ground rules. My rule number one, I like gifting people. And today I have 3 gifts, okay? And these 3 gifts will have to be products from the expo. You're getting my instructions until there? And the second condition is that those gifts have to be bought from the businesses that Kenya Small Business Development Center supports. Have you gotten that condition? So there are 3 gifts. They have to be bought from my MSMEs because I have to record economic impact. So it's better my money going down there. And so there will be 3 questions that I'll be asking. The first question, I'll give you 3 fun facts about myself, and maybe also our panelists, if they have a fun fact, and you can be thinking about a quick fun fact. And so I'll give you 3 of them. And out of the 3, you will tell me which one of them is a bluff. Which my second term of engagement is, I like sincerity. I like honesty. Just the way Sally preached to us and told us how you should just be honest. So I'll be honest on 2 questions, but not 1. Just the way, as you see, most of my panelists here have not come with notebooks. They'll just speak from their hearts. But they came with their phones. Just again to check about time. That's pretty much about it. So honesty, sincerity, speaking from your hearts, and let's just have a chat. I'll throw in some not very hard questions to you, but just speak what you feel in your heart. So my 3 fun facts, so that we can start this engagement going. I come from a family of 5 sisters. And being here just gave me good memories of when I grew up, and I happened to be the last born. And the things that women did to my life and exposed me, we can have the discussion, and I'm buying you the gift. But they exposed me a bit. And I got to appreciate having and living with women in the house, and also being able to appreciate how they think in that case. My fun fact, I don't know whether it's fun, but it's just a fact. The second fact is, I've actually forgotten my questions for this panel. So I'll give you the fact number 3 so that I can remember my questions as we continue with this engagement. And I will request our MCs just to have also their microphones, because at some point, because for my 3 gifts, I'll want you to also talk to us, because this is all about a conversation. So then my final fact, which will now take us into this conversation, is about digital transformation. When I was in class 6, I think I was 12 years old, my sisters used to be in university, and they had these big computers. And back then, they didn't used to use USB. They used the diskettes. There was this lady I liked back then. I think these are stories that you relate, and it will be good to share with you. If I had a room full of men, maybe this wouldn't be interesting. So I hope this will be interesting to you. So I like this lady, and one day I just decided I would like to impress her to my level best. And what did I do? I wrote a digital letter. And this digital letter, I said all the good things that I needed to say, and I saved it in a diskette. And I went to another computer which had a printer. I printed the letter, and I went and shared it to the lady. She was our neighbor downstairs. I don't know whether it digitally transformed her, but for my case, I think it digitally transformed my relationship with women. So those are my 3 facts. At the end, remember them. I will ask you which one of them is a bluff, and that will be one of the avenues to get one of my gifts from the expo. All right, so we jump in now to the conversation. From my digital transformation perception. I would like maybe Dennis, because I hear you have these definitions, and also just to start us off, what is digital transformation? And to be precise, digital transformation for women and social enterprises, women businesses and social enterprises in this case.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for being here and for being intentional to come and be part of this great conversation. And I applaud our moderator for being very smart. Actually, I would have been better than him, but my tailor did what he did. So I'll be exchanging contacts with him next time to do better. But at least I match with the writing here. Yeah. Thank you so much. So right in between the conversation, I'm very happy to be here personally and to speak about the digital transformation. So to go right to start by the definition. So digital transformation is, we're looking at how digital is creating change. So digital transformation is looking at how businesses and enterprises are able to use digital platform systems and even approaches to bring about change in the way they do business, change in their culture, and even change in terms of the results that they are able to achieve. This morning, Sally has created a very good context for us to talk about harvest, and digital transformation help us also to see how we can be able to change our businesses in terms of the productivity and the impact we are creating. So that is very, very important in this conversation, because it is very easy for big businesses to be able to embrace technology and even the digital way, but it's quite a challenge because or the small businesses, either men-led or women-led, they have a common challenge. But the challenge is even bigger for the women-led enterprises and businesses because of how the society already is systemically organized in such a way there have been no equal opportunities for businesses that are owned by women because of these dynamics. They have been affected. So yesterday we were talking about capital. So these women businesses do not even have enough capital to invest in some of this technology. They don't also have the awareness on how they can use this kind of platforms to be able to drive their businesses. So that's why this conversation is very, very important. And I hope that through this conversation we're having here with these eminent persons accompanying me on this panel, we'll be able to do justice and have a good conversation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dennis. All right, so I hope we'll be clapping after every statement that is made. Anyway, on a lighter note. So Dennis, even before you switch off your mic, you've mentioned something around technologies. And it will only be fair enough for you now that you've talked about digital and what goes with it are technologies. So just tell us some examples of digital technology tools and platforms that you can actually say that have been adopted by not only women-led businesses, but also businesses and social enterprises that has helped them to transform the businesses.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'll borrow so much from what we learned yesterday so that I don't do so much of the talking, so that I remind you. One of the things we said yesterday is about, I think it was said by Sarah Karingi. She was talking about agenda and not gender. Yes. So the first thing is very, very important to be very intentional and have that agenda of taking your business to the next level. There are very many technologies that you can use, but I wanted to answer that question from having an agenda of what exactly do you want to do. One of the things that businesses struggle with, and more so women-led business enterprises and startup, based from my experience, is how they can be able to have insights about the businesses they are doing. in terms of recording and what do those records show about their business. I think Sally already shared this example from her own experience, because she was not even monitoring whether she's making profit or she's making a loss. So one of the technologies or digital platforms that we really need to think about from an agenda is answer the question, what do I want to know about my business? Which record do I want to keep? And do I want to know if I'm making money or I'm just helping people? That is the first thing. The second thing is undertaking research. And research here, you don't have to be a professor or a PhD holder. It's basically understanding your niche. She told us that you can be running your race, but it's not just about the race, it's also about your lane. If you are into supplying apparels, textiles, or you are selling ointments or whatever, do you really have an understanding? And this one is based on even just your customers, people who come in, what is their behavior, what are they saying? Sally told us that she used to get into their family stories. In technology right now, you can be able to use technology so that you're able to record. You can be able to do that kind of research. Technology can also help you in terms of marketing. And this is where technologies that are important for digital marketing. And this is just marketing where the way you can talk to person, but now you're leveraging other technologies to be able to talk about your products, but also not only that, but also you're able to say the story about what is so unique about your product. The fourth thing is about what we call e-commerce. E-commerce is basically you're using technology to be able to sell your product from one place to the other. And this is very, very important because I see many people, and maybe some of them are here, and I can see you from the way you are seeing me because you know what I'm about to say. You say that you're selling through WhatsApp, but you just bombard people with photos, no price, no contacts. And you are feeling so frustrated because people don't like you, including your friends. So that's why this is so important. So that is part of e-commerce. So there's a wide array of platforms that we can use for e-commerce. So you want to sell. And this is very important because even in Africa today, the biggest conversation is about the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, where Africa is looking at bringing in one market. But the biggest question that the continent has not addressed is how SMEs can be able to play in that space, and even more women SMEs, because there are already other limitations in the systems that are affecting how women can enter into those markets and those sectors, and even more complicated on how they can use technology, because of the adoption level. So that is why we really need to think about this. But yesterday we said that we have to be intentional, and we have to be in those conversations where those technologies are being used. So before we talk about the tools, I really wanted to bring it to the higher level where we say that technology must be an agenda of my business. Whether you're selling mandazi, you're selling umbrellas, whatever you are selling, you must adopt technology. And I think that should be one of the things that you're coming out from this panel conversation, that I'm going to invest in technology. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I can recap what Dennis you're saying is having technology as an agenda in your businesses. First of all, knowing why you need that technology and getting to the tools that will fit into whatever you need them to achieve. Talking about finance, talking about market research, you've talked about selling, that is marketing. So it's now just identifying where do you want to apply this technology in your businesses. So now I'll want us to get to the ground, because I think, Dennis, you have greatly assisted us to set the context. They say people qua ground, and I'm very fortunate, Sally, to mention that I also made a new friend from this panel, and that's Washeke. And it seems with that emphasis, we'll use her again in this panel session, just for her, because it looks like she understands what really happens on the ground. So, and also, Washeke, if you have a fun fact, if you just have a fact, please feel free to share. And also, Dennis, when you get another chance, please share yours. I know it might not be about your girlfriend, but it will just be good. I mean, the people here, the audience here, are very receptive to our fun facts, I will guess. So, Washeke, just tell us, What has your experience been like? I mean, this digital transformation, these technologies that Dennis is talking about, how's that journey been like? Digital failing us.
Digital. Good morning. I'll check in my watch to make sure it's still morning. Good morning, ladies. How are you today? Isn't this amazing? Yeah. I'm extremely honored to have been invited to share my experience. And first, I'll start with a fun fact. Mine will just be the truth. I don't have the ones I lie and you guess. But one fun fact about me, which is actually related to the story I'm going to tell you, is that I am an avid and now actually a professional scuba diver. Yeah. So that's my fun fact. Yeah. So when I was invited to speak, I just saw it's going to be women entrepreneurs, and I'm like, whenever I'm called to speak to women entrepreneurs, I don't even look twice. But later I saw the topic, and I was talking to Elisha yesterday, and I was like, am I really the right person for this? I hadn't seen the words digital transformation, yeah? So at first I was like, really? Guys, we'll talk about e-commerce platforms and all this technical stuff. So to get some context, I started my business, Autonomy, which trains people on personal finance and on entrepreneurship. I started my business 15 years ago. 15 years ago. And I started my business, me, as Washeke, coming to you. You tell me your financial problems, and I work it out for you. You tell me your business problems, and I work it out for you. So I was doing that with multiple people because I found that was my calling. And it was because of my own mistakes. Story for another day, yeah? But I started this business when I was broke. Can you see the irony? I'm so broke yet I start this business, yeah? I guess when God calls you to something, you just have to go, yeah? He doesn't care about your situation. That's a calling, follow it. But when I was doing that, I came to a certain realization about something called return on time. When I'm sitting with you, 1, 1, 1, 1, that's 1 hour or 2 hours of my time. I sit with another person, 80% of your issues are probably the same. So I decided, why not put people together? Then I talk to you together. And then I could go beyond me and get other people who can cover areas that I cannot cover. So it forced me to think about my business from a point of not Washeke, but what does this business actually need to do? What does actually the customer need? And I encourage all of us, remove yourself. What does the customer need? So we started that, and we were doing that quite well. And we're doing it in physical infrastructure. And when I started my business, even the marketing, I used to write new articles in the newspaper. I used to appear on Citizen TV or Nation TV, all that. We used to go to places all the time physically. If a client tells us come to Mombasa, we go physically. Now, we had gotten a sense that digital is coming. People were starting to talk about it, but we were comfortable. It was working. Our old model was working. So I remember we were having these meetings in the office once a week to discuss how we are going digital. We've been having them for 3 months. Nothing had ever happened. Then one day, the president of Kenya announces, you are not to turn up at the offices. People who teach and are in education like me, there's going to be no more gatherings of people. That was a Sunday. On Tuesday, we have 300 people supposed to show up in class. What choice did I have? So for me, my digital transformation was lack of choice. It was either the business shuts down during COVID, and we understood if we shut down the business, or this will be over in a month, then we come back. We don't know, and it ended up being a 2-year scenario that we had to live through. If we shut down the business, this business will never come back. So we had to go online in 2 days. And it was the biggest gift that has ever happened to my business. Now, guys, you were asking about Gen Zs. Let me tell you about Gen Zs. Me, I didn't know. In fact, I was like, do we take a 2-week breather and just suss this thing out? I entered to my office, and my Gen Zs, they had gotten people to train us on Zoom, people to train us on what? I had whatever. There were headphones all over the place. There were people I'd never seen in my life congregating in my office. So those guys who are asking about Gen Zs, just let them do their thing. Just let them do their thing and stand back. What you have to just let go is that you are the one to do everything, yeah? But COVID made sure we had to now train. We started off by training on Zoom, that we continued the business. And that's when I started thinking digital. So if some of you are here thinking, but this digital thing is not for me, it's not about first saying, I'll go digital. It's about, what does technology enable you to do? So what problem does it help you solve? So it's not just about going into technology blindly. So for us, it helped us solve the problem immediately of keeping the business going. But as a result of that, so many things in the business, I have completely shifted my mind around. For example, you don't have to have full-time employees all the time. Gig economy and people working from home enables you. You could be stuck thinking, I need a full-time accountant. You don't. You need somebody who at the end of the week can produce A, B, C, D for you. They no longer have to come and sit in your office to do that. You don't even have to see them to do that. Sometimes you can even get consultants from out of the country to do things for you, and you will never meet. So the access to resources was a lot higher because of that. We thought we are now, because as a result of this digital thinking and stopping to think about where can we go physically, we are now teaching people in 15 countries. From Kenya, our market was Kenya. Yeah, now we're in 15 countries. So our market has opened up to Africa. We don't have an office anywhere else apart from Nairobi. So I would encourage everybody, what is the potential for your business? Remove what you can do today, remove your resources, your current resources, and remove yourself, even your current abilities as a human being, as the founder of this business, as the person who's running it every day. What can this business do? If you sell bags, what is the potential for your bags? So I started seeing Centonomy and saying, what is the potential for Centonomy? And then started a wave of thinking and a wave of partnerships and a wave of resources that I would never have accessed if I was not thinking that, if I was still thinking it's me who has to go physically. The second thing it did was the brand, because brand is not your logo, brand is not your business card, brand is not your banner, brand is not even your website. Brand is what is your customer saying about you when you're not in the room. That is brand. Brand is, do people know about you? And as Sally was saying, do they mention you? Do they mention your business? Now, the brand of Centonomy, I think, took giant leaps during COVID. We maybe have been struggling with the business in so many others, like the same struggles we all had during COVID, but the brand took a leap. Why? We were suddenly talking all over the place. We were suddenly on YouTube. We were suddenly on TikTok. We were suddenly on Facebook. We were suddenly on Instagram. And it's not about just putting, as Dennis was saying, chatter for the sake of chatter. It's about, we had to become very intentional about how do we connect with our customer. How do we connect with that customer, and where does that customer have to be reached, and what is the conversation with that customer? So now when I think of digital for me, and I'd like everybody to think this way, it's like having your employee called digital. And what is the capability of this employee called digital if I can release it? And to stop thinking it has to be complex. I learned that because, again, we were not in the office full-time, we had to become very structured about how people work. We found a simple, almost free tool online that enabled all of us we just wake up in the morning and put on our computers, we can see what all the assignments in the business are for the week, for the day, for the month. So we became so clear about what the results have to be. So it has made us a lot more intentional, and now I'm happy I was invited to this panel because truly I may not have all the complicated platforms yet, but I do know that there's definitely a way digital can especially help women. I have another point, but maybe I'll mention it after. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, how Washeke just came out from that Sunday declaration. Monday, you have 300 students who need, or training participants that need to be trained. I mean, back to my fact. You remember I told you I forgot my questions for this panel. So asking you questions helps me to see whether I can get more questions from you so that I can ask my panelists. So this is the next question that goes for the second gift, because the first gift will be to call my bluff. The second gift is for this question. and probably Washeke, you'll judge. You'll help me judge. Whoever feels, and turn to your neighbor. And your neighbor, this is the thing you'll want to hear from your neighbor, and especially if they're women-owned enterprises, just let them tell you their experience in 1 minute, how they emerged victorious like Washeke. If it will be anything close, I'll only take 3 first hands that will come up, and then Washeke will tell me who deserves the second gift. So just tell your neighbor, what is that challenge that you had in your business and that digital transformation? For her, it was the Zoom, where the Gen Zs got to train them, and right now they're in 15 countries, and it's working. So share with your neighbor. Continue also motivating your neighbor. And then, after 1 minute, I'll call it out, and then the first 3, and my panelists will help me identify them.
What are they thinking about now?
Something they're gonna have, they're supposed to say they have an aha, or they solve their problem or something like that. Then I get them giving their responses. Yeah.
A lot of buzz.
Yeah.
Interesting panel. By the way, I saw your book.
Oh, making sense, yeah?
I saw it at an SME conference. Kapsa.
All right.
There's a table there.
I was there. I think my CEO was there.
Yeah.
My 1 minute off. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right.
But I didn't know they were there. I'm seeing our company WhatsApp.
You have seen them?
I don't even know half the things that goes on at the group.
All right. Wonderful students. Thank you so much for sharing the experience. And now, do we give advantage to those who just raised their hands before I ask the question? That's just fair enough, yeah? So who did you see? You saw her? And you saw her? And who else? And you saw her too? Those 3. All right, so let's hear them, and then my panelists, I know you didn't come with notebooks, but I know I trust in your brains, you can just be able to evaluate which is this best story of overcoming that challenge with digital transformation. Over to you.
Good morning.
It's for pitch. Good.
Yes. My name is Ndenya. I am a certified nutritionist, and I absolutely love being here. Actually, I happen to be the 30th Centonomy graduate that happened on Saturday, and also privileged to have been part of ITC. They gave me a free trip to Ghana. Now, my partner and I have discussed this. She's able to do e-procurement for very big companies. And on my side, my company has been able to do more than 60 countries using digital transformation. Thank you.
Wow.
Elisha, I can attest.
You can attest.
Yesterday she won a gift. She was one of the most active, Nutrition by Ntenya, right?
Wow.
She was one of the most active people on Instagram yesterday.
Have you discussed by any chance that you'll want her to share the gift with you once I go? Okay.
Let's just discuss, yeah?
Okay. All right. Our second story.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, actually, I'm shy because most of the panelists, they have their businesses as old as I am. So, so it's a privilege to be here. My neighbor here has a dairy business where she does value addition. And the digitization part came when she had a vet who was going to do the AI to the dairy cows, but it was very manual and it was not very efficient. So she got a camera AI gun, right? Yeah, that she does it herself. So she's sure of the quality, of the efficiency, and now it boosted milk production. Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, that's impressive. Before I got into that part of my dairy business, because I'm also a dairy farmer, for me, I just had to look at the heat signs, and I will get them wrong so many times. So impressive for that. All right, our last,
That way. One.
those one this way. Okay, so we'll make an exception. Okay.
All right, thank you. My name is Diana Sifuna, and I'm a designer with Simbares Fashions, and I'm wearing the lovely kimonos from Simbares. But I'm really standing up to speak for Liz, and Liz, please stand up. She has a very lovely story. She was unemployed for 6 years after attaining her undergraduate degree, and because of technology, in fact, she's told me that one of the first books or one of the first orders she received in her house is your Centonomy book that she ordered. She has a beautiful story. She has a marketing technology company. During COVID, during unemployment, tough financial times, she went online and stumbled on this course being offered at the University of Nairobi, and she graduated with her master's in geospatial data analysis. She's an expert marketing technologist. Not only has she created a job for herself, she has an ecosystem of young people working within her organization. She has global clients, and I think her story is really lovely, that attest to the power of digital transformation. Thank you.
Wow. Cynthia, you're telling me something. You felt there was one...
She's wearing green.
She's wearing green.
Who's wearing green? It has to be you. This is green.
And I'm very surprised why, Juliet, all these people have to be closer to you, but it's okay.
Hi, everyone. Sorry. My name is Doreen Agina from Oriental Locations. I'm sitting here with my boss, Linda. She was actually telling me how she started. She's 14 years now in business. We are from Kisumu. I forgot to mention that. So to reach out to customers sometimes is difficult. But through digital transformation, we even do events for clients from UK, US. It's easy to communicate to them through the digital transformation and marketing tools also.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
My panelists, you have had those 4 good stories. Do you want to discuss and deliberate and just tell me, because...
Yeah, they're all winners. They're all winners. They're all winners.
My human resource person is not here. And the budget that I came with, and it was not for 3 gifts. So you agree all the stories are good enough? Yes. So they deserve a gift? Yes. All right. So 4 gifts for all the 4 stories. All right. So let's take a gear up in this. And it will be, I mean, Krupa, you have heard about these wonderful stories. And I would just like you maybe to highlight from your experience, what are these other good examples that you have come across that are impact-led? I mean, you've heard about the dairy, you've heard about marketing with youth and employment creation, you've heard about reaching out to clients. Tell us a bit around that.
Thank you so much. And I've got lots of stories to share, so I don't think we have the time for it. But a couple that stand out is that a lot of the work that I do is led through digital platforms. We had a really strong program that we started in the midst of COVID across 6 countries around the world. And one of the stories that stands out is of this young woman in a village right outside of Durban in South Africa. She grew up working with orphan girls, wanting to support them build creative skills. Her story was driven by the fact that she wanted to work with these girls. She started a business where she used sustainable byproducts of leather and offcuts to teach them how to create bow ties and different types of menswear. And through the digital transformation that she received for working with our program, she's now supporting over 20 young girls to work with her full-time in Durban. She's opening a center for these girls to seek refuge. And now she's selling her products all across the world, from Japan to the UK, and we were able to take her to a trade fair just because of the work that she put in to get visible online. She's featured in so many international articles across the world, and this is just the power of the work that we do. But I think the most important thing that digital transformation does is it builds communities. Here we have a chance to speak to our neighbors. We don't have that opportunity to do all the time. So a lot of the stories that I see every day is seeing young women talk to people that are helping them through life's challenges, through death, through divorce, just online. And these are some of the challenges that women face while building businesses. So more than the digital transformation of getting more money and getting more clients is the community that it builds, and it helps women grow, build their emotional intelligence, and be so resilient. And I think that could not be possible without the move to digital transformation. Yeah.
You've talked about these challenges, and I wouldn't think of any other better person to just take us a deep dive. Cynthia, tell us about these challenges. What are these barriers that are hindering these women-owned businesses, social enterprises, and even just businesses at large, just transitioning to digital transformation?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you all doing? You didn't think you'd see a blonde lady from Safaricom, did you? You're wondering, what are these protocols and norms that are changing? That's actually a fun fact for me. I was born in Kenya, born and raised, but left 35 years ago, actually now 37 years ago, and came back 2 years ago. And I remember when I told my mother I'm coming to work in Kenya, and she said to me, "And what are you going to do about your hair?" and because I'd been a blonde for 4 years, it had ceased to be something I thought about. And I thought, what is it? You know, is it the braids? Actually, they were in braids. I'm like, is it the braids? I can take the braids down. She's like, no, the color. Kenya is conservative. I said, Mom, they hired me on camera. They knew what I looked like. Right? They already knew, so it's not something I'm springing on them. And I have to say, since I joined Safaricom 2 years ago, I'm 2 years old now, I've seen the blonde quotient go up. There are a lot of blonde women, and it's true, blondes have the most fun. Digital transformation, let me first say two things. One, you heard the definition of digital transformation, but allow me to just come back to that for a second. You can't digitize and have success if you have not fundamentally looked at what you're trying to transform, right? Many of us, you know, by the way, my job, by distinction, by definition, not distinction, my job by definition is about digital transformation for businesses, small to large. So I spend my entire time thinking about this. But fundamentally, what you should not think of digital transformation to be is automating what you're doing. It should be first, what's the idea? How are you transforming the idea? Forget about technology for a minute. But if you're not fundamentally changing something that you're fixing, it's a problem that has no solution, and you've come with it, or you can do it better. Your idea is you can do it and you can do it better. Or you can fundamentally do it cheaper, quicker than anybody else can. All technology will do is speed that up, make it easier, enable it. So digital transformation is really about enabling an idea that you're changing that is satisfying one of those conditions. What are the barriers? I think some of the barriers, and I'll talk about that generically, and then I'll talk about women. One of the barriers is exactly what I just stated. You're looking to find an answer to do things the way you've always done them. I heard the lady who says, collection is a problem. I forget where I heard, where is she? Collection is a problem. right? By the way, it's a problem for us too. I spent all of yesterday trying to figure out how I'm going to talk to companies who haven't paid. And it's not just the small ones, it's even the big ones. Even government, they don't pay quickly, sometimes for a year or more. And so we have to always think about how to solve that problem. So the first thing is to think about how you solve that problem before you sold. If you're thinking about it after the fact, you've not transformed anything. And you're then going to look for the lawyers, you're going to look for all of those things to come and solve your problem, when fundamentally it's a rethink of perhaps when you sell in the first place, if your business, and I didn't hear what the business was, but let me assume for a second your business is apparel, right? Clothing. If clothing is what your forte is, not credit, then maybe work with a bank, work with a SACCO, that when someone comes to buy from your shop, they can buy off of credit. Then that credit is done by KCB, it's done by SACCO, such and such. Those people whose job it is to manage credit. And your job is to manage selling clothes. Now, if your job is about selling clothes and then you think about digital transformation, it's about how you enable that digitally and do it differently. When I was getting dressed this morning, my PA, when I was leaving the office last night, told me, and please remember, there's a dress code. Don't dress the way you normally dress on Friday. On Fridays, I wear an African outfit. And now I'm seeing it, and I'm like, why didn't I wear an African outfit? But I wore this suit today. And I only got it last night, actually. I received this suit last night. I want to tell you about this suit. I bought this suit online from a company that said, send your measurements, choose the fabric, choose the style, and you'll get it in 2 weeks. Wow. I had no idea who they are. I don't know where they are. And I tested it out. And it came. It has a few issues. Could have been my measurements. I've also lost a little bit of weight, see? That's why I'm not buttoning it. By the way, this is only 1 month worth of a bit of loss. Skip a meal, ladies. You don't need digital transformation for that. The reason I made this statement is that person solved a problem. I didn't have the time. I wanted an outfit, or I wouldn't have been looking for it. And I could just get my measurements. One thing I could tell them is they should have taught me how to measure, because I'm not taking out this jacket so you see what's going on underneath there. I'm not taking it off. But they should have taught me that, but they already solved for a problem. Then digital just enabled. I could see it online. I could put my measurements, so I saw what my body will look like. I could see how the pants will look like. If I didn't like how it looked like, the problem was fundamentally me. The measurements were a problem. But it showed me. I selected it, I ordered it, it was done, it was delivered. So digital transformation should fundamentally be, what are you transforming? Start there. Start there. Invest in the learning of your craft. If what you're doing is exactly what you need to be doing, learn about it. Invest in the training. That's something corporations do very well and something SMEs don't do well. You come in with an idea, maybe you researched it the first time up front, but after that, the continuous learning was zero. We've, by the way, in corporate, invest in training. My own group, we do about 12 to 14 hours annually. That's mandatory. And that's the general stuff, not specifically for your craft. So invest in the learning and the continuous learning. These seminars are okay because this is general knowledge. But I heard event business. I heard a business around catering and event management. I heard dairy. By the way, I'm a new farmer myself. I'm 2 months old. Because how can you take advice on business for someone who doesn't have a business? So I'm 2 months old, and I started mine digitally. I have the digital part right. I have the business part. I could use help from all of you. I need to learn a lot of things. But continuous learning is a problem, and invest in that. Number 2, sometimes the barrier to entry is knowledge, and sometimes we will start from what we're comfortable with and know, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. If you started with mandazi making because that was, you could do that, you had your kitchen there, you could get it done, that is fantastic. I sit on a committee at Safaricom which is thinking about how are we investing in women in our business. Our business is to be about technology. And many people apply, but what they're applying is not what we're looking for. They're supplying eggs, they want cleaning services. You know, these are very typical women businesses, yeah? You can supply produce, you can do cleaning, you can do all of those type of things, and they're typically then disqualified because what we're looking for is technology players. And guess who wins? The men. And by the way, they don't know any more than you do. They just know how to respond to those questions. And when they win, they go and find the answer. And it's typically who? The women. So one of the things we're even rethinking, and there's a fantastic company called Fireside, and maybe one day we can bring her here. This lady was a journalist, and the jobs that were being requested were in technology, and she did not have the basis. And she came and she said, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to be trained. And we took her under the wing and connected her to one of our suppliers who was providing us services around fiber. They're the ones who go dig the trenches, they lay the cable, they put up the tower masts, they do the connectivity, and when something goes wrong, they go and do the maintenance and support. She apprenticed under that company for a few years. Today, she's one of our leading suppliers of fiber technology in Kenya and Ethiopia. She is the leading female supplier. And why so what is the transformation for us? It's to say, if a woman has proved herself as a business person, she's showing she has learned her craft, she has learned how to execute her business, manage it administratively, run operations effectively, manage customers effectively, then let's take those women who are interested in learning about technology and changing and transforming their business to where there's a need and doing that. Safaricom spends 100 billion every year on technology from suppliers. Less than 2% of that is women. But it's not because women are not capable, because when I see those partners, the people actually doing the work are women. But those who got the business are men. So, be willing to learn, be willing to invest, be willing to change to support where the need is. Right? You can stay with your mandazi, but the mandazi market, you're dependent on people making children and creating mouths, and they're not like Cynthia, who's gone on a diet and can't eat them. I want them, but I can't. But are you thinking about what are the needs of the market and where is that market going? Then learn technology. Learn technology in your own businesses as you sit right now. I admire the comment that was made in our business in supporting SMEs. It's that capability building on technology that's a problem for many. And part of it is because you don't even know where it is. You don't know how to access it. Or you believe it's too expensive or not for me. So one of the things we're doing at Safaricom, and this week we actually had a roundtable council with the government saying, what are the platforms that we can enable people to learn about these things? And we have a platform called Grow. And there's a gentleman, I think he's in this room, called Gashero. Gashero, are you in the room? You see that guy wearing a Safaricom business shirt? First of all, he can give you free airtime. Otherwise, why is he branded? Yeah? But number two, talk to him about being part of that platform. It's a platform we're engaging with government agencies, with private associations that take companies through a program, and it's just once a month. It's not school, please. Where I haven't been in school in over 40 years, but it's a platform in which you learn from each other and network with other business people, but fundamentally learn about technologies. And we have had our 4th series, and it's far-reaching. It first started from, is your business credible? If I was going to order this suit, and I saw somebody with a Hotmail, a Yahoo, or a Gmail address, do you think I would have ordered? Would you have? So it first starts with the impression that you're making as a business, and some of that investment can be as low as 200 shillings a month. And it's about imparting that knowledge. Register your business. Make sure that your business identity is showing up in the right way. And you can do that very simply through learning where to do it online and getting set up properly. The second thing that this platform wants to do is be able to give you access to understanding markets. That's what many of us suffer. And the expectation is through a digital platform of connecting players in a place that's safe, a place that's vetted, becomes an avenue for SMEs to be able to access markets. The third barrier is we try to do it alone. We try to do it alone. The reality is big businesses that want to make things cheaper, quicker, faster, expand their resources, cannot buy from a source where they're not sure whether the supply will be guaranteed, right? They can't hear, oh, this month things were not easy and I was not able to do it, because they're also committing to their customers. So aggregation becomes important. So how we as small businesses are thinking about how we ally and associate, congregate in cooperatives or in other types of association that allows us to create scale becomes important. The last barrier that I will mention, I could be here all day. I told you it's my job, so I spend my time thinking about. The last one I'll tell you about is how you're thinking about the growth of your business. In the corporate business, every year, we have to be able to commit to growth up front. We have no idea what the year will go like. But last year, we did our 5-year plan, and then that 5-year plan is evaluated every year. But 5-year plan that we did as a company, as Safaricom last year, was to say, today we're a large telecommunications company in Kenya, and we want to become a technology company. But in 5 years, we want to be the leading company in Africa. So it's a very ambitious goal. It's a very ambitious goal. So one, how you plan and think about the growth and projection of your business is important. The problem in Kenya, many businesses are too small and they don't grow. You're almost the same business year in, year out. When you don't stretch to think about what your ambition needs to be, if you're going to be a mandazi a business, you should say, I'll be the leading mandazi business in Kenya. Then I'll be the leading mandazi business in East Africa. Then actually, everybody who's in the mandazi business will be buying their ingredients from me. If you start with that type of ambition, the actions you take, the learning you do, the planning that you do is very different. My last comment, if you'll allow me, I said that before, but it's connected to this comment that I just made. I went to a forum for women a few months ago in Westlands. I didn't know what it was. The name wasn't clear what it was, and I was thinking of not going. And a friend of mine who was visiting said, oh, by the way, are you going to this function tomorrow evening? I said, I saw it on my calendar, but I don't know what it is. I'm not going. She said, I think you should go. I think I heard some people who said they were going and it'll be interesting. So I went, and it was a group of maybe 50 women in the room from all over Africa. And there were 2 men in the room, just like here. And we were told to introduce ourselves in 2 minutes. Say your name, say your company, and are you here to look for money, or are you looking to give money in terms of investment? In 2 minutes. So what does that, before I give you the takeaway, we went around and I'm listening to the women, and the first woman spoke. She said, my name is so-and-so, I have a cosmetics business, and I'm looking for $1 million. I almost burst out laughing. I didn't, but I was thinking, what a joke. $1 million? She should start with something more reasonable, like 1 million shillings. But we went on. And the next one said, my name is so-and-so, I run a business such and such, I've been in business for 5 years, I have grown X%, I'm looking for $3 million. And the numbers kept going like that. And they arrived at me. My name is Cynthia Kropach, I work for Safaricom Business, I lead Safaricom Business. I have no business. I'm not looking for money, but I want to learn from all of you. And I left it at that, and we went on. Finally, the two men spoke. And one of the men said, I'm so impressed by all of you that just spoke. And it was just an introduction. No one spoke for more than 2 minutes. And I'm going to ask the MC to collect for me all your names. I'm going to give you the money. I'm going to give you the money. I learned a lesson that day. There was only one person who didn't ask for money. But I learned something that day. I learned about being prepared, having passion for what you do. At a second's notice, if you're asked to say your name, your business, how much do you need, how much are you growing, you can say it like this. And you're not mumbling, not stumbling and unclear. Because luck is opportunity, is preparation, meeting, opportunity. And for many of us, we're being caught unprepared. You're waiting for Jesus to come, he already did. Yeah. The opportunity was put in your path. You must be prepared at all times. So continue learning, embrace technology. Don't be afraid to change direction to where the opportunity is, even if you don't have the capability. Be willing to learn. Invest in being prepared. Invest in yourself in being prepared, and understand that digital transformation is about you solving for a problem. Technology is not going to fix a bad idea. Technology can only improve it. Thank you.
Wow, wow. I think the only thing we miss here is just a fire so that we could continue with this fireside chat. And I would like to pick two things from you: your hairstyle and the misinformation or information that was relayed differently around the norms. Here in Strathmore, we dress just as you've dressed. And that's your Monday to Friday. But I probably also decided just to dress away from the norm so that I could hear your reaction. How does that also work for women, where there's this norm that laying the digital fibers, it's all just about men's work? The 100 billion, only 2% being for women. So that's the first thing I'll pick on you, maybe to just make a quick comment. But the second thing is the e-commerce. Probably also your PA knew that you needed to give that example of e-commerce because, I mean, Krupa, you deal with e-commerce. So I'll start with you, and you just tell us, what are these successes and how has e-commerce helped the people that Cynthia was talking about, where she just went to the site, made the order, got to her place, and she perfectly fits into it. Tell us a bit about that.
Thank you. I think the biggest thing I know is that data is key. We talked about understanding your customers' needs and who are the people that you're targeting, but there's no way that we know what these needs are. That's where digital transformation helps you get this information. We're all on Instagram. We're all finding businesses that want to reach out to. We DM them and ask for this and ask for that. As a business, when you get those DMs, look at the person that is sending you the DM. Who is this person? I've had lots of businesses that are thinking that they're targeting their right audience. When they go back, they look at these women and these complete different demographic that they're reaching out to. There's a business that was catering to her young friends. She was building these hand-woven artifacts. And then she found out by doing a simple stalk of her Instagram clientele is that the people that she was actually targeting were these young moms with children, and they wanted gifts for birthday parties, and she changed her whole business, and now she's doing over 3 million shillings in sales every month just by doing a simple stalk and understanding the data and the analytics on Instagram, on WhatsApp Business, and she's making so much money. So look at the people that are reaching out to you, look at who your customer is, but look at who your customer is with the numbers. The numbers prove themselves. Another thing that I think e-commerce has done is that it's created a broader audience for the women-led businesses that we're supporting. You're not only targeting your neighborhood, women. You're not looking for customers on the road if that's the kind of business that you have. You're targeting women in your region, in your country. You're targeting women across the world just by, putting yourself out there, putting yourself online. Sometimes it's scary. We don't know how some of these things work. But there's the big opportunity for women that just put yourself out there, put yourself online, and you have the opportunity to make lots of money, and you're able to, transform your lives just by putting yourself out there. So I think my biggest takeaway is that use the data that's provided to you. It's free if you're on these social media platforms, and you have the opportunity to change your whole business. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Krupa. And as I'm heading to Cynthia, I want to stop over to Washeke. Intentionality. Speaking to this, you speak with a lot of passion about personal finance, business finance. Yeah. How do we get intentional with this whole journey that you're talking about, this digital transformation?
Let me ask my fellow entrepreneurs in the room, what bothers you most? As you're going, let's go back to, because sometimes I think we learn a lot of concepts and we are like, you mean you're putting more on my plate for me to do? Yeah? So what bothers you most when running your business? Every day, tell me about the emotions, because we are entrepreneurs, yes, but first we're human beings. And sometimes we forget there's a human being behind this. What is the human being that is you going through? What is a human being that is you? You're tired? A lot to think about? Problem solving all the time? Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning? And then you're a woman. So what else do you have to handle? There's a time I was in a board meeting, and I'm the only woman on that board. And then I got a text from my house help. Gas imeisha. And for a split second, my mind, because I've done that very quickly, if there is no gas today, by the time I land home, and I have a long day, I'm probably getting home at 8 p.m. Oh my goodness. So while everybody else is talking, my attention has to shift for 10 minutes, and I say, excuse me, I have an emergency, and step out and get a guy to pick my gas. But as women, aren't we also handling so much else? There are in-laws, there are kids, there are husbands, there are expectations. We are wondering, are we doing this? Are we doing this right? Am I supposed to be like this? But it's a new generation. Am I supposed to be like that? I win when I'm doing well, yeah. But when I'm doing well in some environments, when I'm doing well, it's now treated as a bad thing. Which one am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to be? Am I talking to anybody here? Yeah? And I remember when I started my business, and I think this is the power of intention, I wrote one thing in my journal, actually 2 things. 2009, I wrote, this business shall run without me. Number 2, I will write a book. Both happened. Both of them I've ticked the box on. And now, why was it important? Let me give you a scenario. Imagine taking a 2-week holiday to the coast, just you and the ocean. You can think your thoughts. No phone is ringing unless it's your mom saying hi. And then you get an SMS, your salary has landed in your bank account. and you are not involved in the business. So apart from all the goals, that was Sheke as a human being. That was my aspiration. There's the aspiration of the business. We'll do this, we'll impact this many people, which we have. We've reached over 1 million people to date. We'll be in these countries, we'll continue producing content. And the thing, the irritating thing about vision is so powerful, but it is so irritating. It is the most irritating journey to be a visionary because it never stops. When you achieve this vision, there's another one looking at you until you even forget the other one was actually achieved. So we forget to celebrate ourselves. But once the intention was there, because this Centonomy is my third business. I failed in 2 businesses first. I had to pay school fees like everybody else, yeah? And I remember I got so tired in those businesses because I even had some employees, but I still carried the weight of problem solving, of thinking, of carrying this thing like a baby with me. The money, the amount of money that is in the bank is in my head. I know some of you have your checkbooks today in your handbag, yeah? That, yeah? The weight it puts on us, and then we're not able then to separate, this is the business and this is me. And that is the difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. Self-employed, you've created for yourself a job in the business that you own. It's like building a house and then you move inside the house. But an entrepreneur, you can step outside and build more houses and more houses and more houses without you being there. So the business can go on a direction. You can even one day sell it without you being there. And then you're actually creating value. So if all of you decided, this business will run without me, what do you have to start doing and what do you have to stop doing? Then you can see where technology plays a part, and you can also see where you are holding yourself back. Because sometimes there's a sense of irrelevance and a sense of pride we are taking from pretending we are the ones who can actually do it all. So when you do that, you start solving a couple of problems. One, you start getting very clear what you are here to do and what you are not here to do. So many things, and I think you may find people who say, you should do this and that. Or you're doing this, you should do this and that. Me, I'm told all the time, oh, you're here, you should have a course for this and that. And you have to become so clear, where am I going to excel at? Because if I'm trying to make this business run without me, so it can go through the stages of a business. The stages of a business are survival, you're running around. Then there's success, you're pretty stable. And then after success, as Sally was saying, must come significance. Otherwise, you won't be able to handle the success. So what stage am I at? So what are you doing? What is that? I am making handbags for the 35-year-old woman who is a professional. That is very clear. Then you focus on that because your customer is not a demographic. Youth is not your customer. Women are not your customer. A human being is your customer. So when you're doing that, you become so clear. These are the traits. This is the personality, the persona of my customer. And I'm going to become so good at that persona. If it's women who are 35-year-olds in the professional world, then I know they shop here. These are the things they like to do. These are the kind of conversations they like to have. These are the kind of events they have. Events like this don't work for every customer. You know that, yeah? They only work for certain customers. So your business is not everybody. So I got so clear, this is my customer. When I'm training entrepreneurs in our entrepreneurship class, we're dealing with a customer that is going through that feeling of they're stuck and they need to get into stability and success. Then they can be taken on by other people. That's what we deliver. Yeah? So be very clear what is that. Secondly, it made me very intentional. Who am I hiring? And I like that example that was shown about money. Let me go back to that. We're all using that example of collections because we can all relate to that. If you were to hire somebody to do collections for you, who would you hire? Without thinking, who do we typically want to hire? An accountant. What does accounting have to do with collecting money? Nothing. Your problem is collections. Define the personality of that person. What's the personality of that person? hustler, focused, good in communication, patient, can go sit in offices. Maybe what's not making you collect is your personality is just not suited for collections. You can't make me collect money. I will have no customers. I will abuse. By the time I get there, I'll abuse you. Yeah, I will have 0 customers. Yeah. People in my office even tell me, I love meeting customers. I can pitch anything, but proposals is where the proposals die at Washeke's desk. That is where proposals come to die. Now I know proposals have been taken over. So just be very clear, who personality am I hiring, and who is that person solving the problem? And once people feel they are solving a problem, they are relevant in the organization and they can be noticed and seen, then they will thrive. It is not you. So there are many problems your business is facing because you want to be the one who's intentional about everything. So you want to be in front of the customer, but you also want to fix the problem about collections. And maybe that customer needs you to be the one who just pitches. They do not need you to be the one they discuss money with, because that's a different level. And that's a different dynamic that you may not be the one to carry that. So you're polluting your own environment by doing the wrong job. You're polluting you're not using your strengths for the right job. So because as an entrepreneur, you have to be intentional about, as you witness yourself, as you experience yourself, as you learn yourself, what am I good at? Do what you are good at. This is not a job about fixing your weaknesses. It is managing your weaknesses a lot through other people, yeah? Because your weaknesses are their strengths. If your work is customers, you should be spending your day, like she was saying, I spend my days doing this. That's what you should be doing. Let somebody else collect the money. Let somebody else do the admin. So just focus on to release me to do what I can thrive, because before the technology and any other resource comes in, we are suffering from entrepreneurs. And I see this in our classes all the time. You're not spending time on the right thing. What you thrive as is the creative, but you're trying to do the creative and then do sales at the same time. So that's not going to work. Yeah. Wow. The other thing you become very intentional about is money. I mean, why are we here? What's in it for you? What's in it for you? Now, a business, why that goal was important is I learned that as long as a business, even this is how investors are going to look at your business. If it is dependent on you, it is valued differently. And then if you are not paying, you know how women, we like being martyrs. Oh, I'm not paying myself. What rubbish is that? What rubbish is that? Because this is what you're doing to your business. One, you are discounting the energy source behind that business. If you were to leave today, please tell me who will fill in for you free of charge the way you do. Or paid in very ad hoc ways, which is a KRA problem waiting to happen. That is just one KRA audit that can close you down. This thing of I'm taking from the business, I'm paying school fees, I'm doing this without any sense of order, that is a KRA audit waiting to close you down. Just one. One will shut you down. But it's saying, let's start from a place of we've got to value what we are bringing to the table. And then it helps you say, if I'm going to pay myself, and I'm just going to use a random number, 100,000 shillings every month, isn't this what we usually do? We'll calculate salaries, we'll calculate rent, we'll calculate what we owe every other people, what our costs are, and then we say that's what the business needs to break even, correct? Isn't that what we do? Then we say the business needs 500,000, for example. Who have we forgotten? There. Because when do we get paid? And maybe sometimes income is coming from another source. It doesn't matter. The business should still recognize that you are an expense to the business and that you provide value to the business. So whether you have something else giving you money, that business needs to recognize that. No, to break even, meaning my income is equal to my expenses, I need this business to generate 600,000 shillings at least. That's not even profit. What are my targets to be able to generate 600,000 shillings?
Wow.
What are then you take it to the next level. What then do I have to do for these 600,000 shillings to be generated without my input? Who needs to be there? What structures need to be there? What needs to happen? I think I was very lucky with the business model of Centonomy, where every week people are in class, because it puts so much pressure on me to make, because Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock, there's a class. It had to happen no matter what. So I think even in your business, remove the option of choice and be very clear. These are if I am in hospital, these activities still need to happen. So that's now a business. That's not a hustle. We're not here for hustles. We're not doing hustles. It's not side hustles. We're here to actually build enterprises. Then those businesses have values. Those businesses attract resources. When you are tired of this business, you can actually sell that business. Then the point I was going to make before is, again, as you do that, the power of community. Women, we are by nature. When we don't have structures, do you know what we are missing out on? And this is where, even for Centonomy, we've seen the ability to use technology very well. Who is a customer that you have today? I mean, acquiring a new customer is so much more expensive than keeping or working with the customer you already have. And what we tend to do, you sell me those clothes. I come to you for nutrition, and then it is goodbye. I look for the fresh new customer. We are losing so much value. And think about your business as a tree. It is a tree with roots, but a tree has branches. It's the same root. So you could have started with that one product, but then it has branches. And many times we tend to think about, I want to start, I have a handbag business, but I have a merchandise idea. I want to do merchandise as well. I also have a hardware idea. I want to do hardware as well. When we sit in our classes, a lot of people say, excuse me, Washeke, how about if you have 4 businesses? So it's like you have 4 businesses that are failing. I mean, why are we working with 4 businesses? Choose one that can be that root, and then you can have branches. So we started with personal finance. But then, it became the way you define yourself starts to, again, back to that same intention. I was like, am I a personal finance company really? That's how I used to define myself before. But actually the mission became wealth creation, because we're seeing people actually creating wealth beyond savings to financial freedom. Then it became entrepreneurship. Then people, the same customer would come and tell me, I wish my kids could learn this. So we started a teenager program. We have a program for people in campus. Me as a person, I evolved, because I was like, I was a teacher, but I realized I can write. So I wrote a book, making sense. Then I realized I like to speak to people randomly. So I started a podcast. Yeah? So I also teach in the US now as well. I teach in Babson University College for some of their courses. Yeah? So understand that you are going to evolve. So, and I'm still on this journey of learning technology, digital transformation. All that now enables you to understand how does, whether it's technology, which plays a big part, whether it's other people, whether it's money, whether it's resources, how do I then manage them to be able to achieve that agenda? It is very dangerous for you to get money today when you don't have those structures in place and processes in place. So for me, that's intention, and not forgetting what's in it for you as an entrepreneur. I was very clear, apart from money, I needed to be able to go to Greece for holiday. I needed to be able to go for Bali for holiday, because I like to travel. If I'm not going to travel through this vehicle, then what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing here? Yeah? But I also needed time. And I thrive when I have time alone to think. I can go away and reflect. So if I'm in noise 24/7, I will not deliver my best. If I had been in a noisy place just before I came here, I would not deliver my best here. But I had to first be in a quiet place so I can be in the right frame of mind. So how does that work for you? You may even find you're making yourself work 5 days a week when you can work 3 days a week. Even just with that. And now look at the tools that are available. Some are free, some you'll have to invest in. There are people you may have to invest in, but at the end of the day, it's also to ask yourself, what's in it for me to run this business? And then, as I said before, separate. You and your business are not the same person. What can this business actually do, especially with the right structures in place? So that's how I would actually define intention. Yeah.
The intentionality when I was actually feeling people are getting some free Centonomy courses here. I mean, just through that session. So Please, as you leave, just check in with Washeke whether you qualify for the certificate, if that goes with it. But I feel you're already taken in quite a bit. As Cynthia gave us an example of where there were only 2 men, and you know, the beauty is that when men have the final say, you will now either decide, Dennis, whether these women will get the checks of the amounts of monies they asked. I will want you to give maybe the final remarks. And if you will allow, I can decide to give you the final gift offer, or we could conclude it with Dennis. So Dennis, in a minute, what does it look like in terms of government integrating with, we have development partners from ITC, and we have private sector. What does that look like? Because at the end of the day,
yeah. So, yeah, I got the question. So, I think the primary role of government is to alleviate poverty through creation of jobs, and they do so by creating an enabling environment. And I'll really not talk about government per se, because most of the people here are not in government. But the secret here is for you to understand what government is doing and where its priorities are. Currently, how many of you know the bottom-up approach? So, some of you are saying yes, some of you are saying some are saying it doesn't matter. And it also doesn't matter your political inclination for or against. But the most important thing as a business person, you should understand that any government priority or policy offers you an opportunity, whether you like it or not. Why? This is where donors, this is where investors, this is where the capital owners will prioritize where they'll put their money is. So as a business person, you also must align yourself into that. I really loved the stories that were shared across by the 4 members, because they really brought out a strong element. And that one is job creation. They're creating jobs. I think that is a fantastic thing. So remember, in all this conversation we're having about digital and technology and all that, the most important thing, as Washeke has said, it is about the people. It is about the people who will use the technology and what it does for them. Digitizing your business or adopting technology is not enough. It is what you use the technology for, which is digitalization. So there's digitizing, which is adopting the technology, digitizing your business. Digitalization is what you're able to do with them, and that's where we began the conversation today. So I'll really encourage you, as you think about this, also don't forget what Cynthia said, that first of all, what are you able to do? There are those human experiences, there are those human abilities, problem solving, thinking through, conceptualizing. Technology can only accelerate that. It can only increase. It is a medium for us to achieve a certain goal. But lastly, I would like us to take action. And taking action is about what Washeke was talking about, being intentional. One of the things I've learned from this conference since yesterday is the ability of putting yourself into a position of learning. And we were also taught that in the 7 Ps this morning. Maybe you're here and you're asking yourself, where do I start? I'm not a techie. You don't need to be a techie. And there's a confusion about this, about being a techie, and also you're saying me I can't adopt technology because I don't know about innovation. Yeah? Innovation, by the way, does not involve technology. Innovation is basically doing something differently to change your outcomes, to change your results. So all of us are innovating. There's someone yesterday who taught us about dragon fruit. I think she's here today. Maybe I'll buy some. But that is also a very interesting plant that all of you should be interested in it. I'm also a farmer, but I also run an ed-tech company called Ubunifu College. I think it's rated among the top coding schools in Kenya today. Yeah, but why am I saying that? All of us here today should know, and I want you to take up your phones, if you have internet or bundles or whatever, and type www.grow.google.com. So Google has free courses that you can do as a business person, and you'll be certified, because most of us love certificates. And when you go to apply for your tender, and you are supposed to use an e-procurement platform like the one she was talking about, you can demonstrate that you have some sense of technology. You can handle an e-procurement platform. Some of the gigs they were mentioning here require you to have some knowledge, and you can share the same with your staff. They are free, certified, and recognized. Thank you so much.
All right. You want to give out something? All right.
Okay, I want to give 5 gifts. Yes, okay?
For the 4 that you...
I want to give 5 gifts, yeah? So, I'm going to give to 2 people a 50% discount onto our Centonomy Entrepreneur Program. It's a scholarship, so it will be whoever reaches, my colleague Wangare. Wangare, it's so that everybody sees you. Stand up. Okay, stand up. Wangare is there, okay? I'm also going to give 2 Wangare, yeah. Can you see Wangare? So after this, please get Wangare for the 2 scholarships for the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program. I am going to give away 2 signed copies of my Making Sense book. Again, Wangare, yeah. And I will give 1 person, I'd run a podcast, who wants to tell their entrepreneurship story and gets a chance to market. I will have them as a guest on my podcast. I'm currently running a series called Diary of a Mad African Entrepreneur. It's Making Sense Conversations on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I will have 1 person as a guest, and they can promote themselves as well, long as they're willing to share their story. And it will be across all Centonomy platforms that we use, yeah? So those are my 5 gifts to you, just for the honor of having me and my fellow panelists here on stage and listening to us and giving us your energy and your attention. Thank you, yeah?
So that Washeke, I don't get a stampede on Wangari and she... Do you have a criteria? Because I've also already seen Prof already ready there. Do you have any criteria, or she has to run and hide somewhere?
I think I'll leave. I have said, let your business run without you. Me, I'm the ideator. Okay. The execution, Wangari will do.
Do the execution.
Wangari will do the
All right.
execution.
I think we have done justice around gifts, isn't it? Let's give a round of applause to her for that. So my 4 businesses, if you don't identify this red color, I have my colleague there, Lucy. I'm also trying to practice what Washeke has just taught us. Find me. She will be doing that on my behalf. And then I think I've also seen my other colleague. Is Alvin here? Oh, yes. And the gentleman at the back. Those 2 individuals, if you see them, it was a great pleasure hosting these wonderful panelists with a great insight. I was telling you, I was actually being reminded about how when I was young with my sisters. And now as I make my final gift offer, the bluff. Who will tell me the bluff? So the first person who raises the hand. Okay. What's the bluff?
The bluff is you forgot your questions.
Do you think so?
Yes.
You confirm? That's a bluff. A gift for you. So we have 5 gifts to offer today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure hosting you, panelists, and also listening to us. It's a great pleasure, and looking forward to moderating other sessions in the future, Prof. And I wish you a very successful day as you go visit also the exhibitors on this other side. Thank you so much, Julian.